Welcome to One Spot Attractions, where we pick one spot at a Disney resort and talk about it.
Come along with us on a thrill ride like Space Mountain.
Or relax with us on a boat ride through Small World.
We will have all your favorites covered.
So bring your faith and trust.
And we will supply the pixie dust.
And we're off to One Spot Attractions. Hello, everyone, and welcome to One Spot Attractions podcast. We're your hosts. My name is Shelly.
And I'm Christy.
And today we're going to go over some goofy gossip. We're going to handle our one spot, dun, 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 and then we're going to give you some trivia. But we're going to start off with some gossip. What do you got for us today, Christy?
We are in the holiday season, but we're going to skip ahead to Christmas. So we're going to talk about a new tour that's coming to Epcot, and it's called Behind the Scenes Holiday Tour. So for those of you who have or heard of the Behind the Scenes tour, this is going to be a limited time only for the holiday tour. And Behind the Scenes will continue on during the day. The holiday tour is going to be only at an hour during the day. So it's going to be between 6 and 7 p.m. It's $45 per person. And what this tour is supposed to be about is like the crops and the flavors that they bring to holiday traditions. You get to see the Christmas lights, because those of you who do not know, the Ride the Land will decorate the greenhouse and like the tunnel for the holidays. So it's really cute. And the Behind the Scenes tour, the holiday tour, will let you see those lights, and they'll explain more on how they decorate for the holidays as well.
So it's quite exclusive, really, if they're only doing one tour a day, because Behind the Scenes can be difficult to get into to begin with. That's a tour I haven't done because we've never been lucky enough to get tickets for it. And then add in, wow, that'll be very popular.
Yeah, I've done the Behind the Scenes tour and I absolutely loved it. And I want to do it again.
The land, like Living with the Land, is one of my favorite attractions. Like I love the zenness of it, that it's very cleansing. You go through it and you just, everything seems right in the world. And it is interesting. My kids have always liked that one as well, because there is a lot to see. There's a lot of good education. And actually, I'm kind of interested to see some food holiday traditions.
Yeah, and right now, if you go on the land, it actually shows a few food and wine. They'll have signs next to some of the crops and tell you what dish they used it in food and wine.
I love that they use the food from the land at Epcot. I do love that. Like, that just brings a little extra flair to Epcot as being just an awesome park.
Yeah, so I'm excited to do the holiday one because I like the original one, so it would be nice to do this one.
Yeah. So if you're interested in getting on that, people, start looking as soon as you hear this, if you haven't already gotten tickets, because that might sell out very quickly. And
yeah, and it's only running from November 29th to December 30th.
Okay, so it's even shorter than the holiday season and in Disney in general. Well, good things to look forward to. We have our one spot today. I say this with a ton of anxiety, so I'm going to let Christy introduce our one spot.
Well, I'll start off like this. Welcome, foolish mortals. I am your ghost. I am your ghost. Wow. I am your host. Your ghost host. Yeah, there we go. I got it. We are going to be talking about the Haunted Mansion today.
Yeah.
Favorite. I shouldn't say my favorite. It's one of my favorite. It is up there with my favorites. I love this ride.
Yep, you do.
Not that I am wearing my Haunted Mansion shirt right now, for those of you who aren't watching, but I'm wearing my Haunted Mansion shirt. I got my spirit jersey behind me of the Haunted Mansion, and I got my coasters here as well.
They have been merchandising this attraction so strongly the last few years. It's kind of crazy that you can go into, like, say, Walmart and find Haunted Mansion merchandise. There's so much out there. So, if you haven't picked up on my tone, this is not my favorite attraction. I was 6 when I went on this ride the first time. And I truly believed a ghost would follow you home. And I went through like a couple years of pretty strong anxiety. If anything went wrong, it was that ghost from Disney that followed me home. So I had to set my children up extremely strongly for this, because if my imagination was that strong, I can't imagine what especially my sons would be. They both love the attraction. I'm the only one with trauma on this one.
Oh, both my children love this as well.
It's an amazing attraction. From the time you enter the queue, which it doesn't matter which queue you're in, if you're in Disneyland, if you're in Disney World, even if you're abroad, there's so much to see in the queue between the graveyards. And there's tactile stuff you can touch now at Magic Kingdom. And yeah, just
they haven't had that area open in a while though.
No, since COVID, but you can see, and I suppose at some point they probably will have to reopen it or remove it. They're going to need that space, right?
Just reopen it because it's such a cool area.
It is. It did kind of gross me out, just because I'm the mom that's always telling my kids, don't touch the chains, don't touch anything. If you touch something, use hand sanitizer. You're all gross. Like, there's so many gross people at Disney. Your number one souvenir is going to be some type of sickness that you bring home. So don't touch it. But that one, it is hard not to, because the queue is so engaging. And then I love how the cast members are allowed to play along. This one in Tower of Terror, which we did a few episodes ago, they both follow a very similar feel, way of production, things like that. And it holds strong. People love it.
And the cast members, if you see them, ask them this question. They have a bat. They have a bat. I don't know if you notice this, but they have a bat. I think the guys have it somewhere on their coat. And
on
the
their
girls,
outfit.
yes, they name their bats.
Oh, I love it.
Ask them what their bat's name is.
That's amazing. What would your bat's name be?
I would have to, because I'm such a Haunted Mansion fan, I would have to go with Gracie.
Oh, see, that's a good name.
I would go with Gracie. Master Gracie.
Good one.
What would yours be?
Oh, I was thinking of something kind of like elegant, like Victoria or something kind of, yeah. Fancy. It's a fancy bat, She lifts her cute little bat fingers, the little claw.
She's wearing her little Victorian dress with her little umbrella.
I love bats. I personally think they're quite cute. After just telling everybody I'm afraid of Haunted Mansion, I love bats. Yeah, let's just make it more confusing. But yeah, they're pretty cute. That is fun. The attraction itself is neat. I love the history on how the two Imagineers that were creating it could not work together on what idea. One wanted it much more like a haunted house and spooky. The other one wanted it more comical. And so they ended up just splitting it down the middle. And that's why the first part's a little spooky and the end part's kind of comical. So it's called compromise, people.
Yeah. And if you notice, I forgot the Imagineer's name, but one of the Imagineers, was it Mark Davis, maybe? I don't remember.
Definitely a famous name.
I'm like, don't quote me on the Imagineer. But the Imagineer who worked on or helped work on this loved chess. So you have, if you look at the top of the building, like on the spires, like it's all chess. They're all chess pieces.
At Disney Worlds, at Magic Kingdom.
At Magic Kingdom and World. So.
That's just going to give me so much to look at when I go back, because my kids will make me get on this ride.
Elena points it out to me all the time.
That's so cool.
Because Elena loves chess too.
You know,
So
I love that they get that creative, obviously they get creative license to do things. That's what their job is. But that they can take such personal things and just put it in at cute little nods, and I like that. So, and the fact that it was supposed to be a walking tour until they realized it's going to slow everybody down. And so in comes the doom buggies, which are so cute, just to keep people moving through the attraction. You know, crowd
yeah.
control, very important. So
Hmm.
I think that's kind of fun. They're surprisingly comfortable as I ride through them and try to hold it together and just lay my head back and close my eyes as my children enjoy the ride. And I remember that I am not 6 anymore.
So let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Let's go back to hold on. Okay. Let's go back to the stretching room.
The stretching room. Yes, when you first enter the queue, when you get through the queue and they take you as a blob in there, and everybody goes to the dead center of the room because you can't be near the walls. Don't put your
Yeah.
children near the walls.
You have the stretching room, or is it actually stretching? Or is it your imagination? There's these portraits, and they're beautiful portraits, and you only see partial of the portraits. Like you have the ballerina, and then you have like this elegant older lady, and then yes, that one,
If you're watching, I have the portraits.
and then the pyramid of guys in the quicksand. Which you don't see until like the room stretches, so that because you'll only see one guy first, or is it two guys? I don't know. But then when it stretches, you'll see them going into quicksand. The ballerina is on a tightrope over an alligator, and another gentleman, in his boxers over dynamite. So, but you don't see all the stuff until the room stretches. And then, of course, there's no windows and there's no doors, even though you entered the room. There's no doors anymore. But you can always go the ghost host way. It's always his way. Or there's always his way. So, which at that point, it's like, for those who haven't gone on the ride, I don't want to give a lot away, you know? But at that point, he shows his way. We'll just leave it at that. For those of you who know, you know, okay? But yeah, some kids will get scared at that part.
You know, I really thought my children would be frightened in the stretching room more, you know, that was my fear. So up until they were about 3, I had this like backpack child carrier type thing. It's an ergo. And they would ride in that because one, when you get scrunched in there, you do kind of get a little close. And they've been, since COVID, they've been a little bit more respectful about how many they put in there. No, you have not had that experience. You've had the opposite. I felt that they were being a little bit better about it because I didn't feel bumped into as many people as I used to, but maybe that was just a lucky experience. It does, they
No,
do
we get to
scrunch
know
you.
each other very well.
Yes. So keep your family together. Definitely hold hands. You can bypass this. You just need to talk to one of those cast members. And I did consider that with my daughter when she got a little bit older, that she was a little bit more aware. So at like 4, would she be frightened? And I thought about it. And I'm glad I gave her a chance because she loved it. You know,
Yeah.
here I was worried and I didn't need to be.
Yeah. Like when Elena when my daughter was probably 4, she was a little scared of that part, and then she was fine with the rest of the ride. I don't know if it was the lightning and the scream.
I think it's that because I don't know if they really notice and put together what's going on with the imaging because they kind of give you a hint that, you know, you could just die, you know, type of a
Right.
thing. But you have to have enough external information from life to understand what that means. And so I think little kids just get frightened because there's a scream. Obviously, Disney people have started really playing along in attractions, you know, love it or hate it. People have started, you know, Rocky Horror Picture Showing, interacting with them. And so they'll scream too.
Oh,
So,
yes. Oh,
you know,
yes.
this is a good one to prepare your child for and just be like, they're going to do that. This is part of the fun. And then it's always a guessing game. Where is the door going to open to let you out of there? So if you know which side you're going in on, you know which side you're coming out. But as a first time person, just stay back a little bit. It's okay, because as soon as that door opens, people are going to bolt to those doom buggies. And again, this could be a dangerous child situation. I'm sure if it was dangerous, Disney would have changed it by now, but it is a little unnerving when everybody starts bolting out of there and you've got kind of a stampede situation going on.
Right. And this
So
is like world we're talking about.
land as well.
Do they corral too? Like it's a
They
bigger
do.
area and then it goes down to like nothing?
It does, yes.
It
And
does.
you go
Okay.
through this long hall, and that's where the pictures are, where you ride in World and you see the pictures. So
Okay.
yeah, so they both do a funnel after that, which can be a little tricky, especially if you have a big party you're trying to keep together. If you do, just stay back. You're going to be talking 30 seconds a minute difference getting on the ride. There's really no point in bolting.
Now I have a question for you.
Okay, I don't know if I can
It's a
answer it.
land question.
Okay, I'll try.
Do they use Magic Band Plus at land?
When I was there last, they did not have all the features rolling out. They do have Magic Band rolling in Disneyland now. So I'm going to guess what you're asking is, with the Magic Band Plus, it does interact with this attraction. So if you have a
Yes.
Magic Band Plus, this is a good attraction to make sure you're wearing that on.
And I don't think anybody even knows about this because I'm the one that came like to you and was like, "Did you notice this?" And it took me probably a couple times riding it to figure it out. I haven't seen anybody say anything about it or nothing, but like, okay, so the Magic Band Plus, it will light up, but
Yeah,
on this ride,
this is the
it
version of the Magic Band that you have to charge. They're a little bit more expensive than the regular Magic Band 2s or any of the older ones. You do need to charge them nightly, and they have lights on them and they have vibrations, and you can set the color scheme. It is a choice. These do not come with your resort anymore, things like that. And so if you do upgrade to the Magic Band Plus, Christy's going to tell you kind of how these work.
yes. Well, for example, on this attraction, it's when you're like coming out of the stretching room and you get a little bit closer to that narrow corral, your magic band, which my very first time this happened, I thought my magic band was dying on me. So, because they don't explain this stuff to you. But I believe it's your heartbeat because
That's what
it's
I
going
took it
bum,
as.
bum, 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 bum,
And it's
bum.
red. It
And it's
turns red.
red.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I thought it was dying. Because it turned red, it was flashing, and it was just going, and then it'll stop. It won't constantly do it. It will pulse. It will go off, and then like a minute later, it'll go off again until you're on the ride. It might do it a little bit on the first part of the ride, but eventually it'll stop. Your heartbeat stops because now you're part of the ghost. And then when you exit the ride, it'll start doing it again, and it'll start doing your heartbeat again.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun feature when that started, and I made sure my kids had them on because they're a little bigger, so on little wrists they can be a little tricky. So I'm like, this is one everybody needs to wear their Magic Band Pluses on, because it is a fun addition where it brings you into that attraction a little bit more. Because yeah, it's neat. It's very detailed. From the wallpaper to finding hidden Mickeys on the table in the dining room scene. If you've been there and they've got this gorgeous ballroom scene with all these ghosts, and there's hidden Mickeys made out of the plates, and they change them around on you. So if you go every day, you still have something to look for.
Yes, I love this attraction, and at World they finally added the Hatbox Ghost.
Yes. That was a big thing when that came to land. This was an animatronic that made his head disappear and show up in a box that he's holding, hence the hat box ghost. But with that attraction, when they got the full attraction completed, that animatronic really didn't have a home that wouldn't destroy kind of the illusion of this. And so they just kind of tabled them. They're like, oh, we'll just put them over here. And this has been years. I mean, we're just decades of ignoring the hat box ghost. And now he's back, and he's not just back. He's back at land and at World and in the new movie. So they've made him quite a title character, really.
Yeah, he's very popular now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's they have to find that kind of perfectly dark and slightly lit in different areas location, which is different at Land and World, but they've got them.
Yeah, and I think right after the Hatbox Ghost, there's a portrait of the ghost host in the hallway.
So it kind of ties the new movie together.
It's like an Easter egg too. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like going through this ride, you go like the ballroom scene,
the graveyard,
the
attic.
Oh my gosh, that is like my daughter's favorite spot on that ride.
That is the darkest area of the ride.
She loves the story of the bride.
Constance, our bride. Yeah.
Yep. She loves the story of the bride.
Yeah, the bride's been killing her husbands. So that's kind of when you go through the attic, that's kind of the dark part there. I don't think this attraction overall, this is definitely an infant through 100-year-old attraction. You do not need to PG-13 this attraction or anything. No. I think just if they have questions like, will a ghost really follow me home? No, honey, this is an attraction. This is Disney. They stay here. They're not going to follow you. They're not leaving Disney. No one wants to leave Disney. You don't want to go home, neither do they.
Yeah, and really pay attention. And like you can even point this out to the kids. Like pay attention to that graveyard scene because you will just see like the funniest things too. Like them having a tea party.
Oh, I love that one. I love the opera singer.
There's a band. Yeah. And there's a band. They're just playing their instruments and
the mummy.
The mummy, yeah.
Mummy. Everybody has their favorite ghosts from the graveyard because that's the comical. Everybody's singing, and it brings it back together. And then the end point, which is very, very much a pivotal point in this attraction, is the hitchhiking ghosts that have also really come into their own and have become their own little entities. And I love now how they're doing it where you look at them and you turn the corner and they're in your buggy with you. The year that changed and they were putting that in place. I was probably in my teens when that came through, that changeover. And I just remember just being like, I have no idea how they're doing. Just my mind's just blown by the illusions.
I'm blown because how do they switch our heads?
I know, right? Like some of these illusions are huge, and I have a black cat that just came up because he knows we're talking about Haunted Mansion.
I was just like perfect timing.
Yeah, good job, Wiley. Yeah, and that one, at the end when you come out to the horseless buggy. That looks like there's a ghost horse pulling it. My daughter always loves that. We have to get her picture in front of that every single time because, there's horse sounds and
yeah.
From the sounds to the smells, the smell of that attraction. I know some people love it. I hate it. I hate the smell of that attraction. I have like a candle that smells like it, and it smells like old dusty wood. Like mahogany or something. I don't even know what they use for the smell, but somehow it just smells dusty and old, and and it works. It works for them so well, from the smells to the sounds to the sights to the illusions. There's a lot to this attraction.
Yes, there was definitely a lot of work put into this attraction. And
And it paid off.
yes, especially
Yeah.
the Peppers ghost.
The
The Pepper
pepper?
ghost?
Tell
Peppers
me.
ghost? That's the
Peppers.
ballroom? The ballroom with the
Okay.
ghosts?
Oh, you mean the illusion, the Pepper's
Yeah.
illusion type thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I I did not know what that was called, but I knew that it was named after whoever created it. So, yes, on how they do the illusions of the ghosts floating around and stuff. And this has been
Yes.
going on for a long time.
Oh,
This
yes.
isn't new technology.
Yeah. And yes, that's the name. Peppers ghost.
There you go.
And for those of you who don't know what that means, I don't know exactly what they do. I think they like put the animatronics in another room and it's like basically a mirror projected off of it, kind of like a hologram.
Yeah, it's definitely it's smoke and mirrors, right? And the lighting's got to be right. And yeah, that it's old magician tactics and tricks, and they work, and they've worked for a long time, and they have not
Yes.
really changed a whole lot out. This is the attraction for the most part. There's been some upgrades, but for the most part, we're seeing the attraction that opened.
Yeah. And if you're like really into the Haunted Mansion, I would suggest going during the Halloween party because they have ghost interactions outside of the attraction and they are just so funny. And they interact with you, they talk with you, and it's just the best.
And shout out to Disneyland peeps, because nothing beats your Halloween version. So from
True.
Halloween through Christmas at Disneyland in Anaheim, they change it over to Nightmare Before Christmas. And I love that one. I clearly was never scarred on that one. I love the rhyming of it. It sounds like the nightmare. It sounds like the night before Christmas, the kind of sing-songy dialogue that they use. It's decorated super neat. They put Jack Skeleton in there, and he's taking you through his Christmassy Halloween. And it adds so much fun to it. And then at the end, you do lose your hitchhiking ghosts. They do swap it out for Oogie Boogie, but it's fun. He sends you home with a gift.
I wish they would do that in World.
I
Like,
know.
that would
I
be
wish they would too.
amazing.
That would be neat. Yeah. Well, we've got some trivia for you, some of our TTFN trivia before we end this one. And Christy and I have not talked about these. We're going to see most of these I wrote down because I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. So anybody out there that gets all of these right, you are like a Haunted Mansion king or queen. So we'll start off with an easy one. What is the famous song that's played throughout the Haunted Mansion attraction?
Grim Grinning Ghosts.
Yeah, that's a fun song. My son likes to play that one. He can play that on the piano. It torments me a little bit with it. Number 2, this one I absolutely love. I would have gotten this one wrong, and now I know what I'm looking for every single time I go. In Magic Kingdom, there is a Disney character that is represented in the Pet Cemetery. His statue was moved to the Pet Cemetery. Do you know who it is?
Oh, Mr. Toad.
It is. It's J. Thaddeus Toad from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. When they got rid of that one in Magic Kingdom, his statue moved over to the Haunted Mansion. And I think
Or Toad.
it's pretty cute, though. When did Haunted Mansion first open in California?
Oh, I don't know this one.
Yeah, this one's kind of hard because I would have placed it much earlier. It did not open with the park. It didn't even open slightly after the park. It did not open until 1969. It may
Oh,
have been an
really?
original idea for the opening of the park, but it took a long time to get that one to come into its own. And then only 2 years later, in 1971, it opens at Magic Kingdom. So Disneyland did not have this that long before Disney World did, which was surprising to me. Okay, I might butcher this last name. Boris Bandanov? Is it Bandanov? Boris Bandanov is the voice of your ghost host What other characters does he voice?
I actually just saw the answers to these ones because I was looking up a few things before we started talking about this, because I was looking up facts because I was looking up like if Shelley didn't have enough questions.
Yeah, I like
And
all.
I was shocked with this one. So this one, he speaks for Professor Ludwig von Drake, which I was just like, what?
I know.
I did not know that.
The smart duck from like the Donald Duck, Scrooge McDuck. Like, yeah, he's the smart one, and his voice does not sound anything like that.
I know, and it's voice actors. Kudos, man! Like, you guys are amazing. But he's also the auctioneer inside Pirates of the Caribbean, and
he does several voices.
I was going to say several pirate voices in the ride.
He does, and he does voices throughout the parks, like Moments with Mr. Lincoln and things like that. And then to throw a total wrench in there, he's also the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Woohoo!
Because, if you're going to cross, I guess, domains out of Disney into something else, you're going to be the Pillsbury Doughboy. What are we, like, all these voices do not sound anything alike.
No,
as
not
one
at all.
Talented man. So it's like Alan Tudyk. He's another one that's just got amazing voice ability.
Oh my gosh.
He's Valentino. He's also HaHaHa. He's on Firefly, amazing. Which is how I know him.
I know, I knew him like from Dodgeball.
Oh, really? And I didn't even know
like Kenny the Pirate or something like that.
I think you're right. Now that you say that. That's hilarious.
But yeah, I was just like, I can't believe it's that guy.
I know. Another really amazingly talented voice actor. Yes. And my last one, I love this one. What are the names of the 3 hitchhiking ghosts? Do you know any of them?
Phineas?
Yes. But
Gus?
not Ferb, just Phineas.
No Ferb. So Phineas, Gus, and Ezra.
Yes. And Phineas is like the heavier set one with the suitcase. They call him the traveler. Ezra is like the tall, thin, a little bit more skeleton looking one. And then Gus is the short bearded prisoner one. And so I love their names. Like old timey names, but pretty fun. And yeah, that's some good trivia.
Yeah. And if you guys really like the Haunted Mansion like me, I mean, really like it, and you do audiobook, or this is not advertisement, this is just coming from me. If you like audiobook or you just like reading, read the Haunted Mansion series. It goes over like the different, like not necessarily from the actual Haunted Mansion, but like there's some that are actually from the ride, but like it'll go over the stories, and I don't know, I found it
that sounds cute like and something entertaining. My daughter would love. She loves to read.
She probably would. She would. Because I think there's like 4 books.
That's cool. I love that they're coming out with like Disney, I guess Disney park books. Keeps us in our happy place a little bit.
Kingdom Keepers. That's a good series too.
That is great.
I love it.
Well, that's our podcast for today. We hope you have a very awesome Halloween, as that's our next holiday coming up. And if you're listening to this in February, you can look forward to Aprilween. Celebrate half of the Halloween.
Whenever you're listening to this, happy Halloween anyways.
Yeah, and enjoy your Haunted Mansion. And we will see you next week on our next One Spot Attractions.
Thanks for sharing the magic.
Bye, guys. Isn't it stopping?
I'm like, it's still recording.
It is.
I guess we gotta keep going.
I don't know why it's doing that.
It's the ghost.
Dude, I'm starting to think it might be.
They followed you home.
Okay, well, I will stop this totally. And we'll see if it takes it, because that's weird and there's nothing I can do here. And yeah.